Okay.
For security department will give us a small information about the operations.
Thank you, Rachel. Good morning once again. Yeah, the mandate of this division is to actually coordinate the implementation of the National Cybersecurity Framework as well as the e-transactions framework. National Kenya Incident Response Team Coordination Center, which is the national point of contact on cybersecurity issues for the country. So among other things, we put in place technical infrastructure to try and see what's happening, to try and appreciate the national cyber threat landscape in collaboration with other partners. As you know, cyberspace is borderless in nature. So we have established many other partnerships with both at the national level, regional, and also at the international level. So as I said, we took a first approach in the implementation of the national KSAT. So we started with phase 1, which was really to set up actually on that screen over there. That portal is mainly supporting in the resolution of cybercrime, and we also have the national public key infrastructure, which provides virtual identities for. We also work with academia because we bring in academia because of the research aspect, and we also work with, among others, as I said, ICT service providers. We also have the portal, so that's and also write. We still have traditional snail mail where people can still write and communicate. And especially this works especially for corporates that are vulnerable and which attract attackers from out there. And what happens is that we use those sensors to understand and appreciate what attackers are trying to do. Then once we get that information, we analyze it and we send it to the respective. So just quickly, just want to run you through the dashboard. And we see the kind of attacks that you've seen. We look at mainly 3 main attacks, which are the most popular. For example, you go to Rush, it actually shows you a summary of the top 10 most severe attacks. It gives you the IP addresses. Again, our team of analysts will sit down, analyze that, and we communicate to the people in advance so that we can sort that out. The beauty about this
spectrum management and monitoring system, our broadcast data logging system, and our quality of service from monitoring system for mobile. All these stations, if I want to listen, for example, to this station, I just activate it or remove it. Change to another one. And change to another one, then you can. So that's radio. This is radio.
That's radio.
But it's not on. And the direction. Then we have the major one, which is the frequency monitoring system that Mr. Ndige talked about. Gives us the direction where this signal is coming from. So we can be able to do a DF, digital TV stations. So you can use it to monitor, for example, which service. For example, Signet is offering. Signet, let's say this is Pamba. Pamba is giving all this and all that. So all these are the channels that are being broadcasted by the Pamba TV.
Okay, so you talked about the frequency.
Yes.
If somebody decides to go on air illegally, how do you know?
First of all, we do what you call surveillance.
No, there's no alert from us. There's nothing that just lets
Okay,
you
the
know.
system can also give us alerts. For example, this is max code. Now, when I activate max like this, it means it was a commit failure and you have to begin a new one. So like, for example, right now we're doing measurements. As you can see, this network is on the 3G at the moment. This one is struggling to get a connection.
We declare them non-compliant. They came to us contesting about it, but this is the overall results, and we are doing it again. So we've issued a penalty and we've issued a notice for them to comply, and we are again doing the measurements. At the end of this year, in June, we are going to...
It's in my mind. It's in my mind.
Government hires you. We are working on this together. We are all together. So that independence is really on your decisions. As a board, the board felt they can go against even laws that have now been passed, which did not make any sense, because the board implements as a country. So you will have a lot of support from us as a ministry. We don't have any hidden agenda. I think you've already interacted with the PS, and you will see that for us, as long as we're delivering on for any things that you would want, and you can still come back to us with any questions. So for now, it's my.
And I want to be very frank in this particular aspect and say and straightforward. We'll put you through a very rigorous induction program next week. When you use your phone to send M-Pesa, when you use your phone to send an email and so on, these things were not there before. So we are transforming lives. When you go, it's a very crucial organization in this country. That is why you find us in newspapers every day. So sometimes it's good when you see yourself, but sometimes it's bad because more often than not.
To do this, and certainly it's a very challenging industry, a very challenging area that requires, I think, all our best, of course, integrity in executing it, and there's
Come back.
I think I might want to speak on behalf of the ladies. Thank you very much. And having been in the private sector most of my life, really, this is a good opportunity to be able to serve, and we do really thank you, and yeah, we will support. It was a different, you expected a very stiff process. There was a very engaging process that brought out the best. So I think if that is
his words of wisdom and introduce his board. Thank you, sir.
The father was around. Let me start by appreciating so much. I'll ask them one by one to simply say their name and their background within which should not take more than 1 minute until we are through. I will not introduce myself. I've introduced myself so many times that it is time to give other people a chance to talk. Thank you.
I'm the Managing Director of Impact Africa, and that name was chosen very deliberately, and I look forward to making an impact where it matters.
Let me give the new board an assurance that you have a very strong team. I have been around for quite some time, and I can give you an assurance, and I said this even in the boardroom, that I am happy when I compare with many other organizations. I think this is the people to work for and with, because we have very serious men and women.
With the reforms in the selection process of public servants, I am confident that the selected board of directors for the authority will deliver on their mandate to achieve the ICT public policy objectives. One of the key ingredients for an effective board begins with selecting the right people to serve. There are key issues the board will need to embark on immediately on assuming office, which includes but not limited to mobile money interoperability, market dominance, and sharing of 4G spectrum. I call upon the industry operators to cooperate and collaborate with the Communications Authority and ensure policy decisions are taken which will spur our economic growth and impact positively on the lives of Kenyans. Apart from the ICT sector policy review, we have put in place the National ICT Master Plan, the Broadband Strategy, and the Cyber Security Master Plan, all which outlines the ICT priorities and which the new board will strive to implement. Of importance are the projects that provide incentive for infrastructure rollout to the unserved and deserved areas.
It's been a challenge, but for us as a ministry, as a government, we're very committed to seeing that Kenya becomes, based on our Vision 2030, a digital economy, a knowledge society. And we cannot do that without CA. And CA cannot do that without a board. But you have to have the right board, you have to have the right vision, the right plans, and you have to look at the country and all the things that we need to achieve. There are many things that happened, but we went through all that because we need to have a board that actually works. The previous board, we didn't have any fight with them. And that's proven in that we actually have someone who was in the previous board in this board. We didn't have any fight with them, but they decided they were going to fight with us. My issue was that, and I got advice from the AG, that we can't have a regulator that has questions on them. There was questions, there were court cases. We needed to get those out. Because if you're going to innovate, if you're going to do new things, if you're going to do things that will challenge the world in the way we want to move in leaps and bounds, then you need a very strong regulator, a very independent regulator. And I mean independent in terms of decision making, not independent from the country or from the government. We continue to work closely together. So can you find innovative ways of being able to, within the next few days, not weeks, few days, to enforce something so that at least the quality of service improves? The suggestion we got from the Senate, which we agree with, is that maybe all dropped calls should be free. That one, the citizen who's actually paying for this call is actually going to benefit. Find innovative ways to actually roll out the 4G networks. If we can find a way of migrating completely and from 2G to 4G, we even skip 3G, it would be great. But we make sure we have full coverage in the country, because broadband means people will have access to information. Access to information empowers people. It empowers people by eliminating middlemen, and people are able to either get their entertainment, their education, their business, their communication. They can be able to do many things. It provides freedom. And so as a new board, you have a challenge to be able to make sure that in the shortest possible time, every Kenyan has access to broadband. As you've heard from the PS, we have new policies coming up for the industry, the new regulations that are coming in place. Familiarize yourself as quickly as possible with those and give your input. But let's start executing, let's start moving fast. We want to see even within government that we have full use of ICT, both in terms of our own internal processes, but also in terms of servicing the citizens. Expanding Huduma centers, e-citizen, and so on, to make sure that we are reaching everybody everywhere. Find ways of making sure that KBC, Posta, all these institutions that are licensed under you, that they are performing. They're not all performing in the way that they should. And not only the operators, how are you going to actually make sure that we hold everybody accountable? Because if we can set a high bar, we're actually going to see a huge change in this country. And some of those small changes make a big difference.